I can't name the number of times that I've felt inferior, so much so that I let it become a part of my identity and that there was nothing I could possibly do to change it. It came down to the little things, the everyday things, the things that somehow have such a grip on my brain that I can't sleep. No, before you ask, this is not a story about feeling insecure. It's a story about feeling secure within yourself, but then having the world make you think twice. It's all external. The stairs, walking down the school hallway, the comments online, the stereotypes that it's just a joke, being called basic or just a follower, to being told that you don't have an identity. As I've gotten older and social media has become more prominent, it has become more and more apparent that some men truly don't see people that identify as women as complex beings or people for that matter. It's a constant battle women endure just to prove that they are people that have passions, interests, and dreams and a right to having them. Now, brace yourself for some squeaky and voice-cracked sexism.
This might be the most sexist thing I'll ever say because
Whoa.
I don't really agree with it. But at the same time, like when I start looking around, I'm like, you're right. But do girls have hobbies?
Whoa, man. Where did that come from?
No.
They just literally just hit record.
I know. There's a select few, but it's rare.
For a girl to have a hobby.
Like a camaraderie hobby. Like us, we go to the skate park. There are the skater girls. The girls can do everything guys can do and so forth. But they don't choose the hobby. That's not a common hobby in their culture or our culture. For what would you... Where am I? What's wrong? What's wrong?
I slightly understand what you're asking.
Guess what? We do have hobbies. I know, it's crazy. And there isn't one hobby or interest people that identify as women can have without being discredited for it. The validity of our passions is constantly questioned and interrogated. For example, female-dominated sports such as dance, gymnastics, horseback riding, figure skating, and cheer are always put down and told that they are not a real sport. Some women enjoy more male-dominated sports, and they are never taken seriously or have the same access to participate. Women who are passionate about skateboarding, video games, music, woodworking, and sci-fi or action movies are told that the only possible reason that they could be interested in it is because boys like it and they just want the validation from men. If a woman partakes in more feminine or girly hobbies such as makeup or fashion, she is told that in reality she has no real talents or interests. However, if a woman takes no interest in those girly or feminine hobbies, then she's told she isn't feminine enough and that she's trying to be different or quirky only for the attention. So clearly, there are some double standards here, and through the male gaze, women can do nothing the right way. It's so easy when being asked what your passions are just to say nothing at all and be silent. Men who enjoy the exact same hobbies are never discredited for taking interest in them, and when they express interest in more feminine hobbies, they are even applauded for it. And don't get me wrong, they have every right in the world to be interested in fashion, makeup, dance, etc. And by them partaking in those fields, it is breaking down the stupid social construct that people who identify as men can only like manly hobbies. But that also means women should receive the exact same support for enjoying more masculine hobbies and the right to be awarded for it. After experiencing being a woman for 17 years now, this pattern of mocking women can be seen everywhere, every day, which could lead to why it is still so prominent. Aside from it being born out of sexist standards that are still very much alive and well, evidence of women being mocked for their passions is everywhere in the media. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat. It exists on every platform through thousands and millions of comments and messages. Aside from seeing it in social media, women are constantly depicted as shallow and without real passions.
It was a good learning experience, at least for me. I want to be a lawyer. But you don't need to be doing this. Go out and have fun. Go shopping.
You think that's all I do? I'm just a ditz with a credit card?
No.
Placed in film is most often to serve as a love interest, a joke, or depict a stereotype. In films where women are the main characters, they are chick flicks and deemed not as interesting or deep. Those films are never considered serious cinema and are often laughed at just because they revolve around women. In those films, however, women are almost always depicted through the male gaze, and in so many of our favorite movies, the actress must go through the ugly duckling transformation or makeover trope in order to get the attention of her male counterpart. I'm looking at Grease, made in 1978, where Sandy, played by Olivia Newton-John, completely changes her personality for Danny. In The Princess Diaries, made in 2001, Mia, played by Anne Hathaway, must be, quote, beautiful before she can be a princess or placed in a position of power. In The Devil Wears Prada 2006, Andy, played by Anne Hathaway, isn't taken seriously in her job until she changes, and when she does, it becomes all about her male counterpart. In Clueless, made in 1995, Ty, played by Brittany Murphy, is told she isn't good enough for just being herself and undergoes a makeover to attract her love interest. In Miss Congeniality, made in 2000, Gracie, played by Sandra Bullock, only gets recognition for her hard work after becoming, quote, attractive. In Pretty Woman, made in 1990, Vivian, played by Julia Roberts, is only deemed as a true woman after undergoing a makeover. It's almost as if these movies that are made to target women have to include a makeover, to carry out the message that unless you completely change your personality and interests, you will never be good enough. It is also in those films that women are seen usually having only feminine hobbies or interests, and when they do have a more masculine hobby or a masculine job, they're never taken seriously. And when characters step out of that trope, the film puts it off as they're just proving themselves to their love interest. She can never do anything for herself. It is also in these films where a woman in power or a woman successful in her job has to be the villain, which as a result makes it much harder for women to have confidence within their success and their passions.
Okay, she's tough, but if Miranda were a man, no one would notice anything about her except how great she is at her job.
I'm sorry, I can't believe this. You're defending her?
Yeah.
The wide-eyed girl peddling her earnest newspaper stories. You, my friend, are crossing over to the dark side.
In school, it is also very rare that a classic text we study in English class is written by a woman. Personally, I've never studied a female author for a significant amount of time in class. In the novels we do read, they are almost always outdated and filled with sexism. Teachers will sometimes point out the sexism in a text, but just simply pointing it out doesn't cut it. I would of course rather have it noticed and talked about, but by not having female authors represented and female characters equally represented, women are forced to accept a sexist version of themselves, that it's that or nothing. After seeing this problem come more and more to light, I've reached out to my friends and my family to share on their experience, and their statements ring true to so much of what every woman has experienced. When we see women portrayed this way in media, film, literature, etc., it becomes and is the normal, that a woman's only role is to serve someone else. Men could experience this too, but it is nowhere near the amount that women do. And I shouldn't have to validate every point I'm making in every woman's experience by bringing men into the picture. Women shouldn't just have to learn to deal with it or be told that's just how men are. The weight of the problem cannot rest on women's shoulders alone when they didn't even create it in the first place. Our passions aren't for men to validate. They are our own, they are unique, they are beautiful, and they are part of our identity. So to answer your question, yes, girls do have hobbies.
You're not worried that they'll just check out the sexual references and not care about the music? That's not what it is.
No, not at all. I've got 3 #1 records and I've sold almost 4 million albums worldwide.
So what's the biggest thrill of your career so far?
The gay community,
Oh, wow. Why? Can you...
'cause I love them so much. 'Cause they don't ask me questions like that. 'Cause they love sexual, strong women who speak their mind. You see, if I was a guy, and I was sitting here with a cigarette in my hand, grabbing my crotch and talking about how I make music because I love fast cars, you'd call me a rock star. But when I do it in my music and in my videos, because I'm a female, because I make pop music, you are judgmental, and you say that it is distracting. I'm just a rock star.